Much as I want to be able to blame the cost of living crisis and the economic downturn for the reasons for my financial situation, the truth is I have no one to blame but myself. Um, I've definitely been in denial about it. Always knew that my business had limited income potential, largely because I just don't want to jump through hoops. I don't want to become some kind of fashion social media influencer. I don't find social media and online marketing very exciting. I don't enjoy putting myself in front of the camera in that way. It doesn't feel authentic, and that's why I'm not very good at promotion. And that obviously really affects my saleability. Of course, I haven't changed the way I've done things over the years, and the drop in business now does have a lot to do with the cost of living crisis. But because I don't want to go back to office life, which would be the easiest way to make an income straight off, and because I have a very small spending power, it wouldn't take a lot for me to get on top of my finances. And because I have been very careful with my savings, and I generally only use them to fill the shortfall in my monthly income, that has allowed me to keep denying that there was a real problem. And over the last, I would say, 6 years, I have depleted a lot of my savings. Um, Working from home, being my own boss, has made me mentally quite lazy, I think. I used to work really, really hard. I was always working. How I didn't hit burnout, I don't know. And then I went to university for 3 years, wanted to completely focus on that, didn't want to have a second job. And that's when I lost my work ethic. And since then, I've never worked as hard. And maybe it's because I realised that working in offices was a bad way to live, that I was putting up with too much toxicity, bad working environments for the sake of income. And I realised that I don't have to do that. But I have also realised that I have to make money, and I can't live on what I'm making or what I have been making over the last 5 years or so and just fall back on savings, because I mentioned savings in my last post, and I put a little write-up in the corner which also says that I don't have a retirement package. All I have to rely on at the moment is the state pension. So I've never worked in jobs where I was able to have a pension, and I didn't really understand it enough to get one. And I haven't earned enough in so long that I wouldn't have been able to contribute to a pension anyway. But I have been keeping up with my national insurance, so I have the state pension, provided there's even a state pension left when I retire. If I ever retire, who knows? The retirement age might be so high by the time I get to it, I might be dead. Who knows? At this rate, I've got a while to go. I think I've got about 20 years, 21 years before I hit the retirement age as it is now. Goodness knows what's going to happen in the next 20 years. It probably won't even exist. And the idea for me was that if I hang on to my savings and invest my savings, I can provide a top up to that, because at the moment the state pension is pretty much what I need to survive every month. But of course, things are going to change over 20 years. It's not going to be the same. And I probably will end up having to keep working until I drop dead, if I'm physically and mentally able to. So my idea was that if I invest all my savings, I can use that as a monthly top up for my state pension. This, of course, isn't really something I feel I can plan for at the moment. It's a bit of a pipe dream, because I do think that the situation for retirement will have changed a lot over the next 20 years. And what I now need to do, because I have frittered away some of my savings over the last 6 years on me being incredibly lazy about my income potential and about my lack of enthusiasm for work, which isn't something I'm going to go into. I think there are a whole bunch of reasons why I have a lack of enthusiasm, and it's not just pure laziness. I think there's all sorts of things going on there. But I now need to repair that damage that I've done, the savings that I have spent. And it's quite a lot of money, but given that my earning potential is changing now, and given that my lifestyle isn't going to change, I think I can start putting away a lot more of that money, and it won't take that long to get it up to scratch. Plus, if I continue to reinvest the money in high interest savings accounts whilst we still have them, who knows how that's going to change, I can add money back in and create a passive income from the interest as well. So my being in denial has really created the situation I am now in, and is why I have to live so cheaply, and which I don't mind. I mean, it's definitely cured my desire to shop, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't get a buzz from spending my money on cheap tat that I don't need, and I like that I have been freed from that situation. I like that I am no longer that kind of consumer. So that has been a good thing, and that's a superpower I will go forward with, because I think even if my even if my earning capacity changes, let's say I earn a third more than I need every month going forward, I would still be putting that money back into savings. And if I could get back up to the level of savings that I was in, say, 6 or 7 years ago, I will be happy with that as a working savings fund. And then I can start to think about other ways that I could invest the money for better savings long term, while still having emergency savings on hand. And of course, again, that all depends what's available. As I start to potentially get closer to the tax bracket, cash ISAs are going to become more important again, because they are tax-free savings. So there are all these different things that I need to think about. But think about whether or not you are in denial in your situation. A lot of people will hang tight and hope that things will change. If they have debt, they might just sit there hoping it'll go away, hoping that something will come along which will mean it'll just get paid off, or that they might get the work bonus and they'll use that, but they won't, because they'll spend it. And being in denial when you're in debt, or when you're just borrowing out of your savings to get you by, is a really bad habit to get into, and it's the one habit that I've definitely needed to break easily. I would say the last 6 years, since I moved in on my own, to my own place, I think that's when the denial really kicked in, because I was able to work when I wanted, and I wasn't facing the fact that I needed to be a grown adult and get jobs. But I feel like things are changing. I talked not so long ago about manifestation, about how you can, I mean, it's not really about wishing for better things for yourself, but if you change your mindset, I think sometimes things can change. So a more positive feel. So I think mine began probably last month, I suppose. When I applied for this agency and got it, I got the clinical trials work. That's made a big difference. And just this last week or so, little bits of money that I wasn't expecting have started to come my way. I had an email from Tesco credit card. Now, I haven't had a Tesco credit card in years. The last time I had a statement from them was in 2012, and I had an email from them saying that my account was in credit. I didn't even realise I had an account with them anymore. In fact, I don't think I do. I'm sure I closed it, because I racked up loads of debt on it and had to pay it off when I cut it up and closed it down. But they sent me an email saying that they owed me £12.77 in, I presume, accrued interest. And it was a genuine email. I did check, and I called them. I had no information on the bank account, so after a bit of searching around, they managed to confirm that it was my account, because it was difficult to prove. I had nothing on them at all. I've never been registered at this address for that card, and this morning that money appeared in my bank. I had a letter through from the Working Tax Credits people, because now they've closed my working tax credits claim, they wanted to check what my income had been from, I think it's from April to August. I think primarily to find out whether they could get any money back off me, but it turns out I think they owe me about 50 quid because my income hasn't been great this year on the business. So I think I have about 50 quid coming from working tax credits, people, maybe. And I've just had a text from the chap whose business I clean for, asking me if I would do a day's private clean at an empty house about half an hour down the road. I don't know the circumstances, but I suspect it is the house of his surviving parent, who has either passed away or has gone into care, and now he's selling the house. I don't know that, I just get that feeling because it's not their industry, it's not their kind of work that they do, and it just seems like it's a little too up, too down in the middle of the countryside. And I suspect it's being tarted up for sale because they've had painters and decorators in there tidying it up, and he says it's absolutely filthy. So he's paying me the hourly rate, and he said, can you do a day down there? So that's going to be, 8 or 9 hours of cleaning work potentially. That's, I could make 100 quid out of that just for one day's work. So these little dribs and drabs are kind of coming my way without me having to do anything. And it is small money, but when you add it up, 2 months ago I was looking at an income deficit of £3,500. It's now gone down to £600 because all these little things have happened, and I'm rolling with it. I am absolutely going with that. I am taking that all the way. This new chap that I am doing the cleaning for seems to be quite proactive in trying to promote me as a private cleaner. I think he's recommended me to a couple of other people he knows. So who knows, I might not even need to get any more work from this agency. I might end up with private clients. Who knows? I'm happy to go with that all the way. So positive manifestation can be good if you think positively. I think that things can change if you have a positive mindset. Being negative about everything and pushing everything down will keep you where you are. I'm not saying it always works, and it's not like hippie stuff or anything like that. I'm not into all that. But if you can have a positive mindset and take opportunities when you see them, things can change. And although I don't really want to go out to work, I've allowed these things to just take me on that journey. And I'm now getting used to going out and doing work for other people again and not having all my time to myself. So mentally it's making me less lazy, it's making me take responsibility, it's making me have to go out at certain times and do things, which is really good for my mental uplift. And what I think will happen over time is that as I do more of that, and as I get used to taking those responsibilities, it'll make me want to take more responsibility in my business. And it may well be that I end up just starting to do more things because I've regained that enthusiasm for taking control and enjoying the fact that I see the money come in, which of course is the bottom line at the moment. So don't be in denial. Make the first steps. It can be hard. Do it at your speed, because if you throw yourself all in, you could end up just hating it even more. So that's today's advice. Don't be in denial. If something needs facing, just face it, because having to undo the damage, months, years down the line because you just didn't face up to the inevitable, will just make it harder to repair the damage. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'd really like to kind of grow this channel a little bit. It is slowly going up in the ranks, and the numbers of followers are growing, and that's really fun to see, because I'm hoping that just some of the advice that I give and some of what I do is actually useful to people. So please, I'm going to put the subscribe circle there, and then there will be some videos with recommendations coming up in just a moment. Thank you very much.